Hey everybody, it's Angela Murr, and for our last speech, I chose to talk about distracted driving. DrivingDistracted.com gives 3 different ways that a driver can be distracted. The first way they talk about is visually, which obviously would be taking your eyes off the road. Now this could be, to answer your phone, to text somebody, to reach down and pick something up, and your eyes just leave the road for a second. It could even be turning around to give your baby a pacifier or your child a book that they dropped, a toy. So it's important to be visually aware when you are driving, obviously. Again, sometimes you see people looking in their mirror, putting on makeup, or even eating. Visually you have to look down to get your makeup and put it up, so you're not watching the road, you're watching what you're doing. Another way people are distracted when they're driving is manually, which this is, similar to visual, but this is taking your hands off the wheel. Same thing, you turn around to pick something up off the floor, or you lean over. I know when I was in high school, driving at 16, I leaned over to pick something up under my seat and hit the car in front of me. I was at a red light, but I guess I didn't have my foot all the way on the brake. So you need to make sure you're paying attention, and using your hands to drive and not do anything else. A third way drivers are distracted is cognitively. That's taking your mind off of what you're doing. And I'm also guilty of this, all 3 of these things really, but sometimes you're driving and you're thinking about something totally different. Maybe you're upset, or singing along to a song, and your mind just is not on what you should be focused on, which is driving. Texting while driving. Texting is the most dangerous type of distracted driving, and it involves all 3 methods of distraction that we just talked about: visually, manually, and cognitively. Because you can't text. Some people can say they can text without looking, which maybe you can, but it is still not a safe thing to do. In 2009, 5,474 people were killed in the U.S. because of accidents that involved distracted driving. Again, I also got that information from DrivingDistracted.com, which is under the National Department of Transportation. For every 6 seconds of drive time, a driver sending or receiving a text message spends 4.6 of those seconds with their eyes off the road. This makes texting the most distracting of all cell phone related tasks. AAA, I actually got these from AAA of Colorado, gave several tips to avoid distractions while you're driving. Their first suggestion was do not answer text while driving. It doesn't matter what it is. It can't be that important that you need to take your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, to see what your text may be. If you must text or make a call, AAA recommends that you pull over onto the side of the road, stop, text back, if maybe you're waiting on an important phone call. And in my mind, the same rules apply to texting as they do to answering phone calls while you're driving or making phone calls. If you think you'll be tempted to text and drive, put the phone in the trunk or turn it off. Put it somewhere where you can't get to it, because then if it's not in reach, you're not going to feel like, oh, somebody's calling me, somebody's texting me, I've got to answer that phone, I've got to text them back. Another step that AAA recommends is recognize that texting and driving is a habit and it's not easy to break. They recommend asking for help. You can't, if you find that you can't stop, then you definitely need to get help. It may be even that you need to get texting taken off of your phone. But definitely in the car, the safest place for your phone to be is, in your purse, turned off. Again, even stopping at a red light and pulling it out to look and see if you have messages, that is also slowing your reaction time down. If somebody comes barreling through the red light and crashes into your car, you don't want to be looking down at your phone, seeing, who's calling you or, what the latest gossip is on your phone. And now with the internet being so readily accessible on your phone, I think it's even more of a temptation for people to be on their phone while they're driving. A little personal note is that my niece, one of her best friends who was 17, she was driving home from a party late one Saturday night around midnight, and she had just received a text from her boyfriend that said, "Don't text and drive." You know, they had been texting back and forth, I think, and what happened is she ran off the side of the road. Her car flipped. She was actually in a Jeep. She was thrown from the vehicle, and she died. All because she had been texting back and forth, you know, with somebody while she was driving. Many celebrities are behind the, you know, no texting and driving act, where you go online, you make a pledge, you can actually print it out, you know, put the rules up in your car so that you see them to remind you of what you're doing. So many families have lost a loved one because of ignorance about texting and driving. So I just want to take this chance to persuade you perhaps to not text while you drive. It will keep all of us a lot safer. Thanks.